Hello and welcome to A Celtic World, the YouTube channel and podcast made by fans of Celtic all over the world for, you guessed it, fans of Celtic all over the world. From Renfrew to Wrexham, Portree to Perth, wherever you happen to be watching from. You're part of A Celtic World, so do please join us in the comments as I throw it over to our unmuted participants. Let's start with Paul in Perth. How are you doing, Paul?
I'm good, Gav. Nice to be on. A bit tired, as you know, 3 o'clock kickoff for us.
And what other reasons are there for your tiredness?
Well, yeah, obviously the charity walk that we were bigging up earlier in the week. Thank you to anyone that donated or shared it or liked the posts. Yeah, that was yesterday. So got around the course okay. Quite warm, 29 degrees in Perth yesterday, which is unseasonably hot. And then, yeah, washed down a few pints to celebrate afterwards, since the organisers had kindly organised for the finish line to be next to a pub. So, yeah, they'd obviously thought ahead. Put on some scran. No, we had to pay for our own beer, but that's okay. I could dip into my pocket for that. It didn't go. The charity funds didn't go towards my beer. I paid for that myself. And yeah, great day. Our team individually, our little team organised. I think it was 8 or 9 of us in the end did it. We raised over $3,000 from the team. I think I raised $1,225 on my own of that, which was pretty good. So happy with that. So again, thanks for the plugs. And yeah, between a bit of a hangover and not enough sleep, certainly a nervous first half, which I'm sure we'll get into. Yeah, a wee bit tired, but looking forward to it.
Okay. Well, Innes, it's a wonder Paul's so tired that he can manage to appear on multiple YouTube channels throughout the course of the day. Where does he get the energy?
I've top and tail today. I was relatively fresh for the earlier appearance.
He's in everything but the crib. Innes, how are you doing? How are your energy levels?
I'm good, thanks, Gav. Hi, Paul. No, good. Refreshed. It's 11 a.m. my time, so get up at 9 o'clock. Get ready for this. So. Only one cup of tea for me today, but had a few beers last night watching the game, but nothing over the top, nothing like you had, Paul. So, yeah, feeling refreshed.
Oh, good on you. I'm actually having my first for several days. I've been pretty under the weather, I have to say. Terrible head cold, as they say. You only start saying head cold when you're older, do you? Because there is such a thing as a head cold. It's like you feel all bunged up.
Yeah. And it lasts for way longer once you pass 40, as far as I can gather. So, yeah, there's been a lot of it going around, especially over here.
All right. So, today's Thursday. So, what are we going to talk about? Well, handily enough, we had a game yesterday, as you've both mentioned, in the Europa League. So, we're going to talk about events around the game, first of all, before we get into the stills and the action. And then we're going to preview the Hibs match, of course. So, all right, how do we get started with this? Well, let me see. Let me consult my copious notes. Around the Red Star game. Now, Red Star Belgrade has had me singing songs for the past few days. Paul, can you think of a song that features Red Star Belgrade? Or can you, Innes? Hold on. Maybe we should throw it open to the people. Should we throw it open?
I certainly can.
You can?
Yeah, one of my favourites has got a song with Red Star Belgrade in it. So,
Innes, without giving away the answer, can you?
No, but I've googled it since, and it wasn't certainly with me growing up in the 80s, so I didn't know it.
Well, we'll just give it a second to see if there's anyone who's come in with any answers. It's not the kind of thing you would expect appearing in too many songs, but we've given it enough seconds. Paul, would you like to take it away?
Yep. The wonderful Billy Bragg has got mentions an uncle that played for Red Star Belgrade in the 1991 hit Sexuality.
Which is this? young and warm and wild and free. I had an uncle who once played for Red Star Belgrade. He said some things are best left unspoken, but I like to get things out in the open. Explain what that's about, Paul.
Well, the song's about celebrating one's sexuality and not being afraid to hide in the closet, which was pretty radical back in 1991, but not so much of an issue these days, thankfully.
So what sort of imagery is he going for with Red Star Belgrade? Can you fill us in on that, Innes?
I've not got a clue. I mean, I never really listened to Billy Bragg. I certainly don't know that song. So I can't say much about it.
Well, he's not shy at being comedic in his,
No.
and a lot of his the lyrics in that song are sort of images of sex, basically. You know, a nuclear submarine sinking off the coast of Sweden and all this various things. So, I mean, the Red Star, Paul, is that along the same lines as a chocolate starfish?
Well, you've gone for greater imagery than I'd really pieced together with the song. I thought you'd just gone for a bit something that was a nice rhyming couplet, but you've obviously gone deeper into this than I dared to dwell.
But do you think that's what he's getting at? It's not just me. I mean, that's the kind of thing he does.
He might
a cheeky chappy.
Yeah. He is a bit of a cheeky chappy as well, Billy. He maybe he's a smart man, so he's clever enough to come up with that little innuendo, I imagine.
Yes, indeed. Paul's on more than Ant and Deck these days, someone says.
Surely
Jerry
Ant and Deck
Smith.
past their peak, I would have thought.
Is that the late, great Kirsty McCall in the video? You're familiar with Kirsty McCall in this?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I thought I was going to ask that question if that was her in the video, but it was too brief.
Yeah.
So
She came to a very tragic end, didn't she?
Oh, yeah.
In Mexico.
Yeah, speedboat accident. Yeah.
Yeah, she was scuba diving with her sons
Yeah.
and came up, and word has it she sort of saved one of them, but the propeller hit her. And the word is that it was some sort of wealthy Mexican playboy type who got away with it, was never really brought to justice. You wouldn't know this was a Celtic podcast, would you?
I was going to say there's another Kirsty McCall, Billy Bragg connection as well, isn't there?
Go on then.
Oh, New England.
She covered in New England, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Jane tweaked the lyrics a little bit because it was a female singing it, but yeah, good version as well.
Very good version. All right. Okay, well, that's our little starter for 10 about being around the game. Let's move into some other more pressing matters around the game. These are our Europa fixtures. Let's look at those first of all, because, I mean, I know none of us want to be here, but this is where we are, and there's a fair chance that the enthusiasm might grow, don't you think, Innes, as we get into these games?
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, I can't say I was terribly up for the Europa League myself, and I really wasn't up for the game last night terribly. I was going to be going to this game. That was the plan. But given the events over the last few weeks with the transfer window, I said, bugger it, I'm not going. So sitting there last night watching the game, I was kind of wishing I was there, to be honest. Yeah. But I'm hoping to go to Rotterdam later on, and hopefully we've stacked up a few points for then as well. So,
yeah, it is worth pointing out that there's never been an official boycott of these Europa League fixtures. That was never decided upon by any group.
No, it was my personal choice. Just frustration. And plus also it covering pretty quick, it being the first fixture. So
David's keen to get in on the musical chat here. Rotterdam or Rome, Innes?
It's Rotterdam for me at the moment. So
that could be anywhere.
Rotterdam or Liverpool, or is it Rotterdam or Liverpool or Rome?
This could be Rotterdam or anywhere, Liverpool or Rome.
Yeah, there we go. Near enough.
Yeah, but those fixtures, Paul, do you see us getting points from many of those?
Well, I think we should have on another let's take a step back. I think on another night we could have got all three last night. Certainly think if we'd strengthened, we should have over the window. We should have won that game. We'll get the detail of it, but yeah, they were there for the taking. Albeit for our luck on the night, and a draw was probably a fair result in the end. Braga beat Feyenoord, I think, last night. I think Michelin beat Sturm Graz. So hard to tell, but Sturm Graz were what, second bottom or bottom of amongst the bottom teams in Champions League last year. So at home you think you've got a chance in that game. If Michelin are sneaking past them, maybe you got a chance there. Don't fancy it's away Feyenoord, but they've lost the game already. Roma will be tough at home. But yeah, I think there's points. The game is. I think that's a pretty negative view. We're nowhere near up to speed yet.
Certainly is a negative view.
Negative view, is it right? But I'm not saying we're great shakes, but we're patchy at best last week.
Patchy.
But there's momentum to be built. Like there's players to still click. We've got right and left combinations barely getting to know each other. We've got a striker barely in the door, but who's already contributing and doesn't look 100% fit, either match fit or physically fit yet, and he's still contributing. So I think there's upside there. Look, I think if we're being brutally honest, this top competition is about our level. So we should be competitive in all those fixtures. I don't think there's any danger of any of these teams thumping us. But equally, it could be a struggle to get the points that we need. But yeah, we'll see. In the end, it was a decent start.
I think we've been pretty shit so far this season, but we're going to improve, and we're improving. We're definitely improving. There's definitely signs of life in this team, I'd say.
Yeah,
well, I know we haven't played well. There's Miguel back in. Yeah, we haven't been good recently, but I see signs of improvement, and that should help with players getting to know each other, players coming back from injury, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, Innes, sorry.
Yeah, no, you could see signs of that on the second half. Certainly the first 20 minutes of the second half last night, you could see the signs that, encouraging signs, shall we say.
Yeah. This is a bit grim though, wasn't it, saying that crap? You're like, oh no. That's just not the same as etc. Do you even know the Europa League theme tune? Is there one? I'm sure there is one.
There is one. It's kind of jarring and a bit sort of. It kind of shocks you a bit when they play it on the intro for all the TV coverage, and then they play it before just at where they would normally play the Champions League music. I do not know what the piece of music is called, but yeah, it's definitely got its own theme.
It's not very uplifting.
It is not.
Where we're used to jarring and not uplifting music on this channel, so that's fine. You could have been there, Innes. Did you see pictures like that and think that's where I belong?
Yeah. I mean, I was watching it on social media over the day, and just wished I'd been there. I like these away days. Good fun. And I've never been to Serbia before, so that would be another one ticked off.
Yeah. All right. Well, this was the team then. Any surprises for you there, Innes? That's, I think, exactly the team I was tipping. Don't know if I get that right, but
no real surprises. Gone with the same midfield again, and obviously Donovan had to start. Given his form in the last few games, and Ralston probably not fit. Midfield's a concern for me. It's a bit stale. Been the same for the last few games, and up front, that was it. I thought he went with Maeda for his pace, but as it turns out, then contributed very little, to be honest.
Yeah. Any surprises for you there, Paul?
No, I think pretty much. Obviously, two changes: Schmeichel and Maeda coming in to the team that beat us. So he just seems very reluctant to change the midfield. We can get into individual midfield performances later, but clearly he's more than happy that that's his best three, which is a concern all round. yeah, I think Ralston is still not 100% on the injury, which sort of made the Donovan decision simple. His form has been great, but obviously still a barely 19-year-old kid getting thrown into his European debut. But he again performed pretty well. And then, yeah, I agree. I thought he would bring back Maeda, mainly from a sort of defending from the front point of view. Like his press is why I thought he would be picked, less than his attacking prowess, because he's not really been on much on form the season yet there. But yeah, he was pretty disappointing. His press wasn't really where it usually is. He seemed a bit out of sorts. He got himself caught offside multiple times. Well, actually, the stats say twice, but it was pretty glaring. The 2 times just didn't even like he attempted to get himself back on. So yeah, he was, but I don't think we supported, his strengths either. Like we were asking him to drop deep and link the play, which isn't what he's capable of. And yeah, we were quite toothless in the early part of the game.
I didn't watch the game live. I don't know why I made that funny noise there, but I didn't watch the game live. I watched some of it today, as much of it as I could get in the time allotted to it. You've seen the entire game, Paul. You didn't watch it live, presumably.
I did watch it live. I always watch it live. Yeah, that's what I mean. That's why I'm tired. I got up at 10-3.
Oh, you mentioned that earlier. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah. So I got up at 10-3, watched the match, went back to bed at 5. I was supposed to get up at 6:20, slept in, didn't get up till 7:20, and then it was a bit of a rush to get the dogs organised and be ready for my moonlighting appearance first thing this morning.
Yeah. Oh. Okay. Well,
I'm very much across the detail of the game if we need to cover.
Okay, well, you're going to have to fill me in a little bit. Anyway, let's get cracking with the stills. First moment of any significance was a 6-minute free kick that Nygren took from the far side there. And it came across to CCV Innes, who headed it back across goal. Could he have tried to steer that on target?
I'm not so sure. He possibly could have done. Not that wasn't that clear cut for me.
What do you reckon about that, Paul?
I think just the angle he was kind of at would have been. It was sort of kind of behind him, so his only option was to play it across, and no one was alert or Johnny on the spot to try and get it at the back post, which was a bit disappointing. But that was pretty much par for the course early on.
And also par for the course was, we had a lot of the possession early on and we're probing and all that, and then they would hit us on the break, like the away team. And they had a couple of dangerous breaks. This looks like a dangerous moment, doesn't it? But Scales then coming in to show us why he's our best defender, Paul.
Yeah. No, he defended his box well. He did get caught under one, which is a recurrent theme and something I complain about a lot, even though he seems to be Teflon by big chunks of the support. But yeah, his blocking and sort of stopping play is pretty much his biggest strength, and he defended the box pretty well for the most part. Yeah. And you need that in these games, and you need to ride your luck in these games, and we did. I think that what that still showed you was a recurrent theme in that we didn't press their players when they were looking to get crosses in from wide areas or deep areas. They were pretty much had the freedom to look up, take a touch, take the time. Look how much space there is there.
Yeah.
And fair enough that we're a bit stretched there probably, but there were plenty of other times where players were getting the ball in midfield, in the vaguely wide midfield, and still having time to look up, take a touch, get it out, and then pick a cross. So it was a bit of a recurrent theme all night, especially first half, that we were a bit slack in terms of giving them room to get crosses in.
Well, another cross came in on 12 minutes, Innes, and there's CCV reminding us that he's our best defender.
Yeah, well, I thought between Scales and Vickers last night, they defended pretty resolutely throughout the game. Distribution-wise is a lot to be desired, but again, they had a lot of chances, and as Paul said, we rode our luck a bit and got away with it in the first half, to be honest.
Yeah, 15 minutes. It was a bit of a sticky moment, but the ball just trundling wide there, we were relieved to see, Paul. That's Colby Donovan, who many people think was one of our best defenders on the night, or possibly our best defender on the night. Had a good game.
Possibly one of our best players on the night. He sort of got tight on his man and the ball sort of skidded through. And I don't think he knew too much about it, but he sort of got his body in the way and it flicked off the inside of his leg, through his legs and out for a corner. But at this point we had the majority of the possession, but in typical fashion, we weren't going anywhere with it. It was all sort of in front of their team and back into the side, usual stuff. But yeah, when they did have the ball, they looked much more dangerous. Yeah.
Now Donovan did pretty well defensively, but he's a relatively confident guy. He was in a good position here, put in a really good cross. Unfortunately, nobody was there for that, Innes.
Yeah, no, he had a good game. I thought he was pretty direct. When he get the ball, he was actually moving it forward rather than what we've seen recently, passing it back all the time or going across. Positive start. He seems a confident guy, and he was worth his place in the team. As Paul said, 19-year-old, just bags of confidence. Didn't look out of place, to be honest, and that's an encouraging sign. So
it is indeed encouraging.
He put some of his more experienced and more high-valued colleagues to shame, to be honest, in terms of his performance, his confidence, his ability to both run forward and pass forward. Quite a lot of times in the second half, he was receiving the ball from Carter Vickers in the right back position and comfortably deciding to take his man on the inside, run into midfield, and then play a forward pass up the line, and then loop back round to support the winger. So, it sounds ludicrous that passing it forward is something to be heavily praised, but it is in the Celtic team because it doesn't happen as regularly as it should. I think, and bear in mind, he's doing all this as a young star who's barely had any, 3 or 4, first team games, and nobody of any real note to rely on in front of him. It's been chopped and changed.
Or behind him in terms of, if he has to get dropped, he's filling in for the fact that there's nobody there.
Well, yeah, but I more mean that the
I know what you mean.
The right winger.
Yeah.
There's no experience in front of him. There's no strong player to help him through. So yeah, I think he's doing well.
Okay, 28 minutes. Scales snuffs out another break. I was just thinking, you see these European nights with Scales playing like this, and I can just imagine, good quality European sides looking at him and thinking, we just want a defender who defends, and thinking this guy's the man. They might have a ball-playing central defender. But anyway, here's another one. They had a few chances. This is, I think, Arnautovic, or maybe somebody else, hitting the side netting. Do you remember this? That was a heart-and-mouth moment in this.
Yeah, I think that certainly got the crowd up, back in the team. As the chances were coming thick and fast at that time, they certainly had the momentum and they had the crowd behind them. But yeah, we hung on.
I think that was Duarte, and then Arnautovic had one a bit later. He crashed into the back stanchion. But both those chances were from our. I think one of the viewers said in their comments earlier, most of what went against us was of our own making, and I don't disagree. Both those chances were created by slack play from us. I think that first one and that hit the side net, and I think Nygren's just, again, no pressing, happy to stand off his man, and the cross comes in and he's got the freedom to shoot. And then Arnautovic's one, I think it's his, that comes from Callum McGregor plays a horrible pass to Yang, a 2-3-4 yarder that he's got no business playing. Yang's body's the wrong position. He's only can go backwards. He gets hustled. The ball gets stolen, and then they're away. Oh, and actually, sorry, that one wasn't there. That was the shot off the bar. That one, which Michael may or may not have got a tip to. I think there might have been the slightest of fingertip on it.
Joe Hart and comms. Did you have Joe Hart on comms?
Yes.
He was very keen to credit him with the touch, and he did get a touch. But we'll get to that.
Sorry.
We'll get to that. Let's keep rattling through these. I took a lot of stills of the first half. Too many, as it turns out, because I ran out of time. Anyway, 34 minutes. Nygren free kick, easy for keeper. Not much to say about that, unless you really do. Here's the one with the shot hits the woodwork. Yeah, that's, you can see Schmeichel diving for it there.
I
He
think
he did get a touch, yeah.
Definitely. 41 minutes, Hatate surrenders possession again, which led to this passage of play, which ended up with this effort.
This is the Arnautovic chance.
That's Arnautovic, yeah.
Smashes it off that back stanchion.
We were lucky that wasn't on target. That looked every inch a goal. He should do better from there, shouldn't he?
Yeah, he should. He sort of lashes at it. He's a good player as well. He should do a lot better. He had a header as well. I think is he the one that had the header that Scales got caught under? I think he maybe was. That should have probably done better. So yeah, you look at those. There's 4 or 5 chances that they've probably carved out, or we've helped them carve out, that on another day to take 1 or 2 of those.
Definitely. 42 minutes, Scales stops another attack. You know, he definitely figured we defended resolutely, it's fair to say. But we had to. CCV from a Nigran free kick. This was a decent chance, you would have to say.
Yeah, that's probably the best chance we had in the first half, to be fair. And he should have, in my mind, should have scored from there.
Yeah. He should certainly hit the target. And if you hit the target 4 or 5 yards out with a bullet header, you've got a reasonably good chance of it going in. So yeah, it was a massive chance. And it would have been daylight robbery if we'd gone in 1-0 at half time, given how poor we were in the first half, but it was absolutely there for us. And I think the immediate aftermath, I was pretty disappointed because we actually did create enough chances to win the game, but we also gave up a ton of chances that on another day would have gone in. So in the cold light of day, once you've got time to sort of look back on it, we'd have probably taken a draw before we went. Sounds like the manager would have. So it's probably an okay result. But I just think, like I said at the top of the show, I just think that there was enough on show there to say that they weren't that great a side. And if we just had a bit more prep, players in earlier, a few extra bodies in the door, then that's 3 points all day long.
Yeah, fully agree.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, just fully agree with what Paul's saying there. It's just, a bit more quality in play from the transfer window. We could have got through that game. And 3 points in the bag.
Yeah, I see there's a lot of chat in the live chat there, people talking, about all the problems, and there's no doubt there are problems all over the pitch. There are less than optimal scenarios in many, many positions, but we've been living that. But when there are green shoots or reasons for hope, it's fair enough to want to highlight those. So we defended resolutely. I thought our defenders did very well, but a part of that is because the midfield wasn't doing such a great job. Here's CCV now into the second half, doing what CCV does. Oh, this was a great chance for Nigran. Do you remember after this nice passage of play?
He's got to score.
I think, there's other minutes for it. This is Scales lifting one. Scales, who often gets criticised for his distribution, and rightly so, but at least he's trying. CCV never even bloody tries. He lifts one over for KT, who runs onto it. And then Scales... then KT tees it up for Nigran, that should say. And then the shot is here, but not a good shot, Paul.
Oh, absolutely dreadful. Hopeless. Like, KT's timed his run to perfection. He gets his head up. He plays a perfect pass out on the edge of the box. Nigran's got the freedom of the box. All he needs to put his laces through or give it a bit of bend into the top corner. He's got no business hitting a shot as bad as that with that much time and space. Honestly, he's early days and he's shown some positive play here and there, but I am deeply, deeply unimpressed with a lot of what Benjamin Nigran does. For
how much has that got to do with your undying love for Ernie Engels?
Well, it's not actually. It's not just about that, because Engels got 25 minutes or whatever he got, and he's not showing it when he comes on. Like, he should be busting a gut and proving that he should be having the jersey back, and he isn't really doing that either when he gets the opportunity. But I've said this since the beginning. He seems one-paced. He gets caught dilly-dallying on the ball regularly. His set-piece deliveries up and down. And you've got to take chances like that, especially in Europe. And it's a really, really poor finish. And he also gets caught for the equaliser. It's his man that gets the free header. He doesn't even jump with him. Like I just. Yet he does a brilliant bit of skill and a beautiful pass for our goal, which we'll get to. So he's a hugely frustrating player as far as I'm concerned. Yes. And part of it might be how he's been utilised, what he's been asked to do. And obviously the midfield isn't functioning well at all. So you've got to factor that into it. But yeah, he is very one-paced. And that is a concern.
Yeah, he's a frustrating watch, to be fair. And the defensive side of his game really needs to be worked on. He's not tracking back enough. He's not defending properly and helping out the rest of the team. There is positive signs there. You don't see it often enough during games, but in that one, that was a great move, and that should have been a goal all day long.
What about this one? It should have been a goal as well. It's just sort of all happened a bit too quickly. I think it was a bit behind him, wasn't it, as the commentator says?
He should score this as well. I think if this had gone in, it might have been offside. Negrin's initial run, I think he might have been marginally offside. But Iheanacho should still score this. He seemed to appeal afterwards, and I couldn't tell from the replay, but it looked like the defender. Now the defender doesn't look like he's that close to him there, but it looked like, because he went over as he in the process of shooting. So I was wondering if there was a little hand in the back. But there was obviously no review on it. And yeah, it would have been probably a little bit soft.
A little Donovan poke, which the keeper just sort of chested, I think. This was at the time when the keeper was getting peppered. This was a great period for us in the game. This first 10 minutes of the second half. And this is the moment. I think I've got the pass. This is the pass. Negrin to Iheanacho. That is a small gap in us to manage to penetrate.
Yeah, that's what we're saying. There are positive signs from him, but just don't see enough or consistency throughout the game. But yeah, it was a great pass through and great finish.
Brilliant finish. One touch and then boom. Would you have finished like that, Paul?
Maybe if it'd been coming on the other side on my right, maybe not so much on my left. But to be honest, it's one of those, like it was probably harder to because he took it with his left, he controlled it with his left and then shot with his left, whereas it would be easier to sort of control it with your left, shift it and hit it with your right. So maybe I could have finished it, but no, it was a great finish. And yeah, cracking pass, like brilliant run in. I think that there's clearly he's clearly dangerous at times when he does stuff like that, but just a lot of what he does isn't really sort of producing what you want it to. That said, I am being harsh on him because he's still the best of the three midfielders. The bar's pretty low, but we've barely mentioned Tatati, who was anonymous, and he was lucky to avoid the hook like Maeda at half time. And McGregor was very up and down again. So yeah, I really, we've been banging on about it for ages. We need to see some rotation in that midfield. And I know there's a lot of people, it seems like Engels gets worse the less time he plays in the team, which I don't think many people thought he was dreadful all of last season when he was a first pick. So I just think, there's a school of thought on him that seems to have got carried away with themselves. But he's a 20-year-old kid and a record signing, clearly got talent. And we've got the captain of the under-21s of Portugal, clearly not a mug. These players aren't going to get any better sitting on the bench for 70, 80 minutes. You've got to get them in the team. And if the midfield was absolutely flying, I'd say, well, you've got to sit and wait your time, but it isn't. And really 15, 20 minutes here and there, I just don't get it. I genuinely think we'll see what happens at Hibs, but we should be rotating this team heavily with 2 games a week for the next few months, because the squad isn't deep and we're going to have to play a lot of matches. So I'm hopeful. Well, not hopeful. Well, it's probably hope more than belief. I'd like to think that there's going to be some rotation through there. And if some of those midfield grab by the horns, but maybe we'll see a bit more of a mix up in it.
Yeah. You have to think, Innes, that Rodgers has said to himself, he's looked at the fixture list and he said he settled on his favoured three. He wants to get Hatati playing. He wants to get Negrin settled in, get to know his teammates. And he's just said, I'm fucking playing these guys up until this point, and then I'll start rotating after that or something. Because managers work with on a different timeline from fans, in terms of patience and everything. It's got to be something like that.
Well, you hope so, Gav. It's just every time that team sheet comes out, it frustrates the hell out of me because you know what's coming with that midfield, and it's been crying out for change, not just for this season, but for the back end of last season as well. It was stale, stagnant, and we've gone over it before with McGregor. We saw it a bit last night as well. Takes the touch, goes forward, and then passes the ball back, then puts us in danger. It's just the guy needs a rest. The team needs refreshed, and for me, Bernardo hasn't really put a foot wrong when he's played. It just needs more minutes. Engels likewise too. Give them a run. We'll see what happens against Hibs at the weekend, but we'll come to that. So.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's not the case of him just not fancying them. It's just he's decided as manager that this is the best way to navigate the season.
When with Hatati, we're getting. I said 1 in 6 in a previous comment, but I think it's 1 in 10 now. We actually see him turning up, and that's nowhere near good enough, and he should be dropped.
And and also, what are the games he's turned up? He was excellent against Thistle. Like he looked energetic, and he had high intensity. He was forward running, but it's a championship team in a cup. That's not where we need his best work. It's got to be in nights like last night. And I know why we persist with him, because he is on his day. He's the most technically creative player we've got, but that's surely not enough to stay in the team when you're this far off form.
No, and certainly after the first half last night, as you say, he should have been hooked at halftime and change made.
Okay, well, here's my last bit of action that I've got from the game. On the 64th minute, cross came in, got nodded onto the back post. This is the picture that a lot of people will point at and say, what's the keeper doing away out there? Is that fair, Innes, or was he doing the right thing to close down the front near post?
Well, I summoned something. I mean, as I said in the comms last night, he'd already made up his mind that he was going, but then he kind of in no man's land.
Just forgot the Tam there, Miguel.
That's for a bigger discussion on Schmeichel, I think, in general.
Yeah.
For another day.
Well, you could give us the abbreviated version.
Well, since his shoulder injury, in my opinion, anyway, he's not looked like what he was since he's come in. Sinisalo's sitting there waiting. He's somebody else that needs game time, and he's going to be, if he's meant to be the future, he needs to be playing. Schmeichel's 38 plus, and nobody's immune from being dropped, notwithstanding his experience. But in the games coming up, certainly in the Scottish Premiership, Sinisalo should be playing some games, in my opinion.
Well, surely this is the season where there'll be a fair amount of rotation between the two, because,
Well, hopefully.
Two seasons of Schmeichel is kind of what the plan was, I would have thought.
Yeah, his distribution of that has gone poor as well. A lot of panic moments. The one last night as well, passing it out, and he's blaming somebody else. It was his fault. So,
I challenge that a wee bit. He was having a go at Negrin because he didn't show. The pass was aimed at Negrin, and he just stood where he was. He didn't come and meet it. He just allowed a player to step in front of him. So he's got some justification there. I get the concerns with Schmeichel. He is clearly past his peak. But he was asked really to do 2 jobs last night, and he pulls off 2 good saves. The fingertip on the bar is a great save. It's on the shoulder injury side. It's his right shoulder that was injured. I have a separate issue about I don't think he should have played the cup final, and that's a different story. But yeah, he had another good save about 65, 70 minutes with low to the ground with he'd stopped it with his feet, but it's a great save. I think he's naturally going to be dipping a bit, but I think it's just that's just another stick to beat this team with at the minute, and beat the club with it. I think Sinisalo has looked decent. His distribution has looked a bit off with his feet. His distribution by hand has been great. I think Sinisalo is definitely going to be the cup keeper this year. That seems to have been the case. He's played the two cup games, and I would like to see that he keeps his spot for the semi-final. So yeah, I don't think Schmeichel is anything too much to panic about right now, but I do think that I don't think you want to chop and change your keepers all season. I think, you know, keeper and the spine of your team you want to try and keep together. It doesn't help that we still haven't got what I think is a strong enough centre back pairing. They were decent last night, but they're decent defending the box. I need a Celtic centre back needs to be able to step out. They need to be able to pass. They need to be able to add additional attacking value, and it'd be good if one of them could score a header more than sort of once in a blue moon. I know Gail's got a good one on the weekend, but our delivery's poor and our set piece conversion is really poor as well.
Well, that's another issue, Paul. You know, we're trying to take too many touches and trying to pass the ball into the box rather than getting crosses in early. Might see a bit more of that with Tenecti as time goes on, but we'll see.
Good pronunciation there, Innes. I appreciate that. So let's move on to generally. Well, this is a post from Tam McManus, you may all know from PLZ Soccer. Celtic this season a very hard watch in Europe. No cutting edge or creativity whatsoever in the final third. This is what happens when you don't have a proper number 9 or a creative midfielder. Now, I put this out in the first half before Iheanacho was on. But I don't think that's terribly unfair, you know. We don't have a creative midfielder who's doing anything creative. We all know that. We've discussed that already. And, you know, Iheanacho's got signs of a good number 9. He can do some things well. But I don't think that's really an unfair comment, is it, Paul?
Well, no, not if it was, and particularly not if it was posted in the first half. It was a terrible watch. I was tossing up between being up watching it on my sofa or hiding behind the sofa for a lot of the first half. It was bloody awful. So yeah, it's fair criticism. We've never really replaced Matt O'Reilly's creativity. We've obviously did a good enough job in the sort of aggregate, if you want to call it that, last season in terms of enough goals from midfield and out wide, but we've lost a lot of goals and a lot of creativity with him, player like him going, with Kuhn going. We've still not replaced Kyogo. Iheanacho might prove to be that, but as I say, he's contributed in the couple of cameos, 2 or 3 cameos he's had, and he looks like he could get there, but he looks up for it, which is good. But I think he's not 100% fit, and he's obviously therefore not match fit. But his ability to hold the ball up is great. His composure finishing, excellent. So there's 2 things that Adam Maeda wasn't ideal at. Like, if Adam Maeda had to think about it, yeah, if it was one touch, he's a pretty good finisher. But if you had to think about it, out the window. Maeda's a bit the same. But yeah, he looks very, very calm and cool on his finishing, and his hold-up play and link-up play has been absolutely excellent. So it was night and day when Maeda went off and he came on. So I think a lot of the negativity about Iheanacho has started to dissipate. It was more about the process of how we came by him as a signing rather than what his actual contribution or ability might be like.
I'm kind of hopeful that having him worked with Rodgers before, that Rodgers can maybe get the best out of him. Well, that's maybe hope. But, they've worked together before, so let's see what happens. Let's see what happens with, a few of these players. Here's focus first on 19-year-old Colby Donovan. There he is, sharing his thoughts on making his first European appearance. A dream come true, he said originally about the event. But yeah, as we've said before, he did very well, so no bothers there. It's good to see. I mean, we all like to see players coming through, don't we? We all like money being spent on players who come in and improve the team immediately. But it's also awesome to see young players sort of being blooded and getting up to speed quite quickly. So, they're not too much of a liability for too long. Be brilliant if we had 1 or 2 others coming in. What's the name of that midfielder who puts his foot in the ball and has lots of nice little touches? We've only seen a glimpse of him.
Sean McArdle.
McArdle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to see him getting a few games, wouldn't you? Because
Yeah,
he
like,
could
he
break through and maybe give us something we don't have.
He certainly looked like he had in the 3 or 4 games he played towards the end of last season. He showed, he's 17, 18, right? Like, I get it where people panic about putting too much pressure on those players, but it should always be, if you're good enough, you're old enough, give him a crack. Yeah. He couldn't be any worse than most of the midfield as it's currently performing. So I'd love to see Sean McArdle get a bit more time in the squad. Dane Murray's looking like he could break through as well after sort of various injury problems. So that's optimistic. But a lot of this is down to opportunity. Like, Donovan was nearly off to Dundee on loan. It was only because AJ got injured that he ended up being held onto, and then obviously he's taken his chance, which you've got to do. Like, there's plenty of young players that have had a sniff of a chance and haven't been able to take it. Like, Rocco Vata had game time and couldn't push himself through and went for the money. And Daniel Kelly again didn't want
Mikey
to hang
Johnson.
around. Yeah, well, Mikey just had tons of chances, but yeah, even some of the younger guys like Vata,
he didn't get
Kelly,
enough appearances per wee Mikey.
Yeah, so look, I think if you're a young kid at Celtic, you've got to have a certain level of attitude, and you've got to be willing to grab a chance and really stamp your authority on a position when it comes up. There should be no freebies just because they're a young player that's come through the system. People say there's no pathway for youth at Celtic. Well, I touched on it earlier. A record signing and the under-21 captain of Portugal can't get a game at the minute. So if that's the level of who can't get a game, then it's going to be tough for kids coming through the youth system to get a game. But the opportunity is there if you show enough talent, and I think your attitude is right. I think Rodgers has talked a lot about Colby Donovan's personality and his confidence. Because as a kid, it's easy to be overawed by the first team and the big names that are there, but it doesn't sound like that's the case with him. It sounds like he's come up and another comment that was made was he trains like he plays, all in. So, like, all those comments that Rodgers said about Donovan last night and over the last couple of weeks, it could have honestly been said about Kieran Tierney when he was breaking through. It was a similar kind of things that were getting said about KT back then. I'm not going to say that Donovan's going to get to the level of KT, but he's got a shot, right? He's playing with confidence. He's been one of our best performers in each of his last 3 starts, and he's going to get a run for another few weeks because AJ is not going to be fit yet. And the last thing on that is it means we don't have to rush AJ back if he's still performing, because in previous injuries, AJ would always be rushed back because we'd be wanting Ralston back out of the team as quickly as possible. So, I think it's been it's a bit of luck landed in it for us and for the player, but long may it continue. Been great.
Here's Pope Leo coming in us with some soothing words from the pulpit. Good morning, gents. The team is still gelling together. I think 2 or 3 more games and we'll be glued together for success. All round great improvement, though. Well, that's certainly the glass half full point of view. We've had plenty of glass half empty from R. McL to contrast that throughout the comments. I think that's definitely a positive way of looking at it. Everything takes a long time with Rodgers' team, doesn't it? It takes a time for people to understand each other. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, that's a fair comment. But as we go back to the midfield point, I mean, that does need changed. It's seriously needing change, and it's not just us talking about it, it's widespread now, but for whatever reason Rodgers is hesitant to change it. So, but the team, the more they do play together, obviously the more they're going to know each other, and hopefully we'll get some more out of them.
Let's flick through some of these. Here's a Celtic State of Mind. Not sure what that is. I think it's some sort of podcast or something. But anyway, only joking. It's Axum, of course. We looked so much better when Iheanacho came on at halftime. His ability to drop deep, hold the ball up and get back between the posts was vital. The jersey is his now, and Maeda will need to show far more to get back into the starting 11, Paul.
Well, yes and no. I'd be pushing him onto the right wing because even though that's not his strongest position, he's going to be better there than Jan, let's be honest. So I'd be square pegging into a round hole. I'd be putting Maeda out on the right. We're well covered for the left because obviously we thought he was going, which is why we bought 2 left wingers. So I think, if he's going to get a game, he's got to be out there. But yeah, is Iheanacho ready for 90 minutes? Probably not yet. So there will be maybe a little bit of rotation. I wouldn't be against. Well, here's 2 things. Where's Maeda gone? Like he's missing in action.
Where's Maeda gone? That's got to be his
there you
song.
go. That's good. But like, do you know what I mean? He looked lively. He looked like he had pace. He looked like he had a little bit of close control. He nearly scored at Ibrox, and he's disappeared, gone. So yeah, at a loss there. But yeah, I think either him or Kenny should be getting a bit more rotation time as well if Iheanacho can't play 90 minutes. Because again, you don't want to be flogging him and then end up with him injured, because then we really are in trouble, because he's by far and away clearly our best striker at the moment.
Here's a point now. Christy saying Dyson and Rio both shouldn't be starting again for us. Both were honking. I want to raise a tweet I put out a while back about Maeda whenever the news broke that he had been angling for a move and it didn't happen. How long before the fans turn on Maeda now? When a player wants away from Celtic, they're immediately excommunicated for such a cardinal sin. Many turned on Kyogo in an instant. At least he managed to get away from it. Maeda's going to have to run out onto the pitch and deal with it. And then further on in the comments, I make the point that we've been very forgiving as a fan base, I think, towards Maeda over his whole time here. You know, all of his wayward touches and crosses into Rose Ed and missing sitters were forgiven because he worked so hard for the team, gave us lots of other important stuff. And then he paid us back with one amazing season where everything came together beautifully. But now we know what we know about Maeda. How forgiving are the fans going to be in this, do you think, when he, fluffs his lines?
For now, I think they'll be quite forgiving. There's a lot more issues that people are concerned about. The team's, the squad's light. So beggars can't be choosers at the minute. He's certainly not going to be playing through the middle, after last night's performance. But, as you say, he can either play left or right. And at the moment with Tinekti, after last week's performance in the couple of games he's played, not last night, Paul's right. I think, Maeda's played on the right before. Probably offer you more than Yang does, but time will tell.
Rubber Ducky, I'm not sure who that comment's about. To see a way to see his bird. Is that not what they say about Yang? What's that in response to? Rubber Ducky, of course, is a bird, so he's allowed to use that expression. It's not at all sexist, Paul.
No.
Before you jump in.
Not at all. No, it's probably just meaning his female duck, whatever a female duck is. Escapes me at the moment. I think I was quick to defend Maeda a couple of weeks ago and said that he would, his work ethic would mean that he would continue to perform, and then was immediately vindicated with a brilliant diving header at Kilmarnock and a very excited and positive celebration. Fast forward a couple of weeks and that looks less so. I already, in the immediate aftermath, I saw people, the phrase, he's down tools, he's already checked out, all that sort of stuff, which you always get. He could have just had an off night, right? But the problem is his off nights and off days are going to get a lot more grief and a lot more scrutiny, like you say, Gav, because he's almost certainly going to be out the door in January. His comments in Japan, obviously, he can't be that naive that he wouldn't have expected those to make the reporting back here. Following that, both Rodgers and McGregor made it quite clear that he was gone as far as that they were concerned. That's why 2 left wingers were signed to replace him and Jota, because Jota's interest obviously still. And McGregor was on record as saying, his locker was cleared out. We didn't expect him back. So, it's been very clear from multiple sources that nobody expected Dyson Maeda to still be at the club at this point in time. So, and the other thing is, and I made this point earlier on this morning, subconsciously or not, if you think that if he as a player thinks he's going to be going in January, he's obviously going to want to protect himself in that opportunity and not risk an injury ahead of that. So subconsciously, do you press quite as much? Do you sprint quite as hard? Do you throw yourself into 50-50s or 45-55s to the same degree as you would have in the past? So all of that's just going to be bubbling away in the background. And yeah, I think for all concerned, because the other thing is his value's depleting by the week at the moment. And his contract's obviously getting run down. I think he'll be down to 18 months by the time January comes around. So the optimal time to sell him would have been the window just gone, but we obviously couldn't get our shit together and that didn't happen. And yeah, I'd be surprised if he doesn't go in January, but I hope to God we've got some sort of plan on a striker and a right winger, because we're still light on across the front three.
Female duck is a hen, somebody said earlier up there. I thought a duck was a female and a drake was the male. But there you go. Who'd have thunk? All right, so that's that. How about a nice little message to cheer everyone up? 70 odd people watching live. Not bad for us. Little channel. It's only our 3rd year, so please listen carefully to this message and act upon it.
All right, Paul, how are you doing? I love this man. You're a brilliant pal, and Bonnie subscribing now. You should know.
That's so funny because, like, obviously I use AI for these, and then that one comes out like an absolute spoon burner. You know, it's like that guy sounds like his life's a mess. I don't know why. Is that whoever programmed artificial intelligence has a thing against Scottish people? I'm telling you, that's not right, is it? Compared to some of the other ones.
Outrageous.
Outrageous. What else is outrageous? Innes is going to the Hibs game.
Yep.
So talk us through your plans for that, Innes.
I'm travelling north tomorrow morning. Travel up to Dundee, and then I'll be back on the supporters bus, on the old Dundee bus on Saturday morning at 11 o'clock. Head to the game, a few pints in the Oak in Springfield Road, and hopefully I'll be back in my old seat. Time will tell. And a few pints with the boys, and looking forward to the game, to be honest. Yeah, looking forward to be back.
Are Hibs going to present the same kind of challenge that you would have thought a week ago, or having seen what happened?
I'm expecting Hibs to pose quite a big threat to us. I've watched a few of their games. Yeah, and we'll have to be on the ball, that's for sure. With the bigger picture, it'll be interesting to see first home game back as to what sort of protest, if anything, there'll be against the board. I'm quite sure there'll be something, but we'll see. But more importantly, I'm looking forward to the game and to the football. So.
Paul, what are your expectations for this game? Obviously, you know who the midfield three are going to be, or do you?
It better not be. But yeah, I
what are you going to do about it?
It's just frustrating. We're all
complaining on one of your many channels.
Who is the first in on only one channel, an occasional guest on another channel?
Okay, good. You remember where your bread is buttered.
Yeah. Well, how? Yeah. Has it been buttered? Anyway, I think so. Hibs have been hit and miss this season. The one thing you can guarantee with Hibs at the moment is they are leaking goals by the bucket load. And even though we're not quite firing on all cylinders, we seem to have found the ability to create chances and score goals. So I expect that if we can keep the back door shut, which we've done reasonably well over the course of the season so far, then I expect it to be a relatively routine victory.
There you go.
Probably by 2 or 3. I think I said 3 or 4 last week, and it was 4-0. So I'm going to say 2 or 3, and yeah, relatively comfortable win at home. I think there'll be more discomfort for the directors than there will be for the players on the pitch.
Innes, you can tell that Paul is a professional broadcaster because he's just done an amazing call back there. because he was talked about keeping it closed at the back, and that's a callback to the Red Star Belgrade conversation that we had right at the beginning.
I'm more
Legend.
of a half glass empty for this game coming up. I'm not as confident as you, Paul. I think it'll be a lot tighter than it is. We're pretty light in the front three, or getting the ball to the front three because of the midfield. So in that respect, Hibs do leak goals, but also they score goals too. So I think it'll be a lot tighter, and the longer the game goes on tight, the more the board's going to get it in the neck, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I do expect us to win the game, but I don't see a 3 or 4 goal margin. I just think it'll be a tight 1-0 or a 2-1.
Well, honestly, the way we're playing generally, I'm just happy to bag the 3 points in the league each time. The performance, of course, you want to see it get better, but until that time, it's all about the points. So we all think 3 points are coming our way.
I do. I think we'll get over the line. I just don't think it'll be as comfortable as Paul's suggestion.
Okay, good stuff. Well, Paul and Innes, thank you both very much for your contributions. Let's say a big thank you to everyone in the chat. It's been very lively. R. Miguel ends on a positive note there, which is this. And there he is, smiling broadly afterwards. So there you go. If R. Miguel can end on a happy note, anyone can. Oh, didn't mean to put that up. It's a bit too long for the end of the show. All right, gentlemen, thank you very much indeed. Thank you again to everyone in the chat. It's been a delight. Cheers, everyone, says R. Miguel. Hail, hail. Lads, great show. If you haven't already, you know what to do. Like and subscribe. Tell your friends, hey, I've discovered this awesome new Celtic show, which you should check out. It's called That Celtic World. Here's the link. Until next time, we'll be back on Monday. We will have the usual Monday show, and of course, tactical review show on Monday with Paul and Anthony, which has its own theme tune now, you may have noticed. That's exciting. All right. Okay, until next one. Cheers, lads. Hail, hail.
Hail, hail.
Cheers.